My name is Henry Confidential, and today I am going to show you my tips and tricks to properly edit a movie trivia match. Now, anyone who already knows me knows that I have been in the fan community of the movie trivia leagues for years now. I could be considered a pioneer, so I have a lot of experience doing this. And the one tidbit I will say before I go and start, the editing software that I use is Adobe Premiere Pro. So I don't necessarily know if every tip and trick that I'm going to show is going to translate to other softwares, but I can say the general principles that I am going to show will help you build your editing abilities from where you were yesterday to where you're going to be tomorrow. And one other tidbit here is I'm going to be starting from scratch, and the program that I use to record my matches is called Ecamm Live. I know a lot of people that are going to be doing editing for these fan leagues are going to be using StreamYard, so it's not going to be a direct one-for-one, but the general layout is going to be similar. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so you'll see here is my personal layout for how I have my Adobe Premiere Pro. Obviously, you're just going to have to kind of get the gist of how you want to handle it yourself. But what I'll do is I'll always start off and I'll import. And I have you'll see here I have a folder full of all my stuff that I'm going to use. So for There'll Be Movies, I'll import that. So that's just going to be easy to go there. Obviously, everything's going to be individualized for yourself, but that kind of just comes with time. But I'm just basically giving you a general pointer on how to edit matches in general, and also to make you better and improve your time. So very first, I will drag down the media here. So you'll see here I have the entire match. There's the entire match. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlink. Like I said, I do Adobe Premiere Pro, so I can't necessarily say this is exactly what it's going to be like for you, but I go unlink, then I copy, then I go onto the second layer here, then I will Command V, paste that, then I'll go back over to the beginning, and I'll repeat that process for as many people as on screen, and I can right click here, add track, so I can have all my tracks here. Now in the future it's going to be different, like for me, because I do all this stuff in pre-post through my program, but I don't know necessarily what everyone has for their programs, so I'm going from the very beginning on how I learned, and then obviously you can improve your skills, you know, as you get better with time. Alright, so you'll see here we have 4 recordings for every 4 player, so I'll go into the effects here, and I will type in crop, and I will drag that onto each layer, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to crop this, and then now you can go here and go for this one, effects control, and now I'm going to crop. So we'll say I pick what I want, so I'll say this one's me, so I'm going to crop the bottom 50%, and I mark these so you can see the difference. So I'm going to crop this one 50%, and then I'm going to crop the right 50%. Now that's me. Now I will bring the scale down to 75. Honestly, this is something you'll just have to, it's based on your individual layouts and how the style of the show is going to be. But for me, I will go there. For general purposes, I'm going to bring this over, and I will actually make the host 50. So I will go about right here and right here. And obviously, as I toy with it, I'll be able to adjust a little better. So for this one, I'll make this my co-host, which was Sean Sandberg. So I will go 50% left and 50% bottom. When it's 4 layers, it's a lot easier because you don't have to do perfect math. You can just know exactly it's 50, 50, 50. And then I will generally put him right there. Okay. And then I will just repeat the process for the players. So now I'll make this one Malcolm, 50% top, 50% right, and then I will make him, we'll say 80% maybe. So let's go right there for right now, and then when I get Russell, I'll decide if that's the size I actually want to go with. like I said, I have all this preset for myself, so some of these tips are going to be a little more generic in terms of me figuring it out, because I'm kind of starting from scratch. But that's just how you would be starting as well. So I feel like it's fair. If I'm going to start from scratch, you can start from scratch. So I had Malcolm at 80 and I have Russell at 80. So bring the position over. I want to line these up, so I want these to be even. And then I just want to, how is that going to look? I like about right there. And I'm also anal, so like for me, I want to put that at 60 and 35. And then for Malcolm, put him about right there. So we'll do 575. And 805 looks good. Okay, so that's a general principle of what we're going to do. But now we need a background. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up Safari, which is what I use. And then we are going to go over to Canva, which is a program that I started using. Create design, custom size. It's free, by the way. And I already have it set here. So 1920 by 18 by 1080. Then go to backgrounds. And then obviously you just find something that you want to do. So ones that I've been using a lot is, I got this one. Alright, so I have everything imported here. As you'll see, it's not going to be as perfect as it would normally, but for the sake of the example, I am going to have it this way. So with that said, here we go. Malcolm is going to be, let's put Malcolm on the top. So we'll make him 95 maybe. So generally speaking, you have to use your imagination just for the sake of this video. But say Malcolm is here. And obviously in my system, as you've seen my other videos, you'll notice that it'll be perfectly lined up. But just for the sake of this video, I just want to give you all an imagination of what we're working with here. So Malcolm is going to be lined up here. Russell is going to be lined up here. Like I said, it'll be perfect because if you notice the transparency, so the little square there in the bottom right corner, the red and the black, on my program, the transparency, I'll have it layered over, so the actual images will be in the background. So that's why it's set up that way. But just for, like I said, once again, just for the sake of this example, it's going to be a little messy. So now that's exactly how the setup is going to be. But now here's where the tips and tricks comes into play. So I'm going to add 2 more tracks. One, which is going to be the scores and the names of the players. So I'm going to make sure I'm on 6 here. Make sure these are all unselected. Okay, so I'm on 6 here. I'm going to add a type tool. And this is where I'm going to add the questions. So question 1, whenever I do it, I just add a generic, this is where the questions go. I do a generic one there because it's not really important. And here's the one important. If you're on Adobe Premiere Pro, make sure you're editing under the graphics, not under the motion. So you'll make sure that that's brought down. I like to keep mine center. I go into the ones that I like. I'm going to go with, we'll go with this one. And I like them all in capital letters, so I'll hit that. I like the white letters, but I like to have a nice black stroke. So I'll go over to black. I'll add a 10. And then now let's go with 40. So for this one specifically, you got to realize that my layout is different than the general family community. So my questions are in the bottom right corner, whereas other ones, they're at like the bottom centered. So how I'm doing it with my multiple layers, it's going to be a little different because generally speaking, with most family communities, if you're going to start editing or if you're already editing, you're looking to improve, you'll only have 1 or 2 lines for your questions. So this part is going to be a little different. This one's just specifically for me. I just wanted to stand out and be a little different. But there's nothing wrong with how things are set up for most leagues. So I go right there. I want to make sure it's nice and centered. I think that looks pretty good. We'll do 1465. Make sure that's how I like it. Now we'll do 1460. All right, so we'll do 1460, and then by 860. So it looks pretty good. So we'll deal with that in a minute, but now here's the important part. You're going to look here. You're going to scroll away. You're going to grab this, and you're going to go here. And you notice how it just snapped like that? This little magnet icon right here, it's snap and timeline. So if I want to go here, it'll watch this. It'll just stop, and it'll snap. So it'll like set up a line, ready to go. So that's just a helpful, shortcut when you're making, different layers. So now we'll go make sure we're on there. We'll do another tool. 0, 0. I like to do 0, 0 just because it just looks better. And then Malcolm. And Russell. So with this one, make sure you're on the right letters. As you notice, it's already got everything set up from the prior letters except for the centering, so that's convenient. So we'll give this 45. Looks good. Put it about right there. And then we'll go over to Malcolm's. Make sure he's centered at 45. Make sure his name's a little different, so we'll do 40. I don't know why. They're pretty much the same amount of letters, but hey, here's what it is. So we'll put that about right there. Now we go over to the numbers. And like I said, I like to do 0, 0 because when you start getting to the double digits, it really just helps separate, you don't really have to adjust the position later on. You can just make it how it is now, and then once you go to the 10s, 11s, and so on, it's going to be the exact same. It might be, a little different off just because different shapes of letters, but generally speaking, you're going to be pretty unnoticeable. So put it about right there. So that's, now obviously it's going to look a lot cleaner both on my own layouts in the future, but also on your layouts. But this is the setup of what we're doing. So once again, just a reminder, you want to stretch out your entire timeline. You want to grab this layer, you want to stretch it out, and you'll see why this is important in a minute when we're cutting and just flowing. So now I'm going to go into the first one in depth, and then I'm going to do the next 2 questions, and I'll kind of just speed through it so you can see really how it adds to the pace. So we have all that going, everything with the match, blah blah blah. That is what it is. I'm just going to scroll forward to just get to the point of where the match starts. Oh, I didn't realize I had it so stretched out. So we're going to go up into like this area. All right, so we're here to the first question. So we have the first question ready to go. And everything that you're going to do beforehand to kind of individualize yourself, whether it's swooping in the characters or the players one by one with some effects or whatever, that's all stuff that you kind of just have to figure out on your own. But my tips and tricks of what we're doing is kind of like generally speeding up the process of the editing, which is the questions and the names and the numbers right here, and adding a little spice with sound effects and transition. So let's go ahead and start it off with number 1, in depth, and then we'll go from there. All right, so as I'm about to start, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim these 2. So now they're going to be gone. So if you look back here, it's like they never existed. So I'm going to add transitions for both of them. Video transitions. I'm going to barn door my questions, and I'm going to do a dissolve on here. Now I'm going to go over to here, and I'm going to go into my transitions, or into my bin for this, and whoosh is the sound effect I have for those. So watch this. See how it just nicely just starts off, and it really just sets a tone. So that's why I like to do it that way. So we'll go ahead and type this question. So do it as it is. What animated film from the what 2010's animated film has the voice talents of John C. Riley, Taron Egerton, and Nick Kroll. Now this is obviously, this was kind of talking about earlier, so it kind of bleeds over. So I'm going to just take him over there and bring this back, and then boom, it's like it never happened. Okay, so now here's just a, once again, starting from the beginning, you can look at it and just how it appears on screen. And once again, the layout of the pictures and all that stuff, that'll be smoother in the future, or just even for your own. But this is just a general idea of what we're doing, because I'm starting from scratch here, but my layouts are all presets, so that's just why it's not perfect on this video. But if you go ahead and look at other videos on the There Will Be Movies YouTube channel, you'll see that everything is more smooth. Boom. See, yeah, it's exactly what you want. So it really just stands out. So what you're going for. So we'll go over to where they're about to reveal their answers. We'll go to where they're revealing answers. When we're talking, blah blah blah. When you're actually editing the video, you have two options. You can either do this, or you can actually watch the matches. It's up to you, personal preference, depends how much time you're trying to save. But if you weren't there for the actual recording, which fortunately for me, as the editor, I'm also the host, so I'm there for the recording, so I know ahead of time if there's something within the match that needs to be cut out, or if it's a pretty clean match, so I can just actually go through and cheat and just go to the questions. So you kind of just have to keep that in mind as well. So they were both wrong. So normally I will trim here. So I'm gonna trim the question no matter what on a wrong or a right answer. But on the here, this is where I would change the score. But unfortunately, they both missed. So I'm going to go to an incorrect buzzer, and I'll have that trimmed, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. So I'm going to skip over to the next question to get an idea of where this needs to be cut at. All right, so we're going to trim that right there. All right, so you'll see right here. So my first instinct is I want to go to the effects. I want to grab, I already have this set up, so now I don't have to mess with the names or the letters anymore. So I'm going to put barn door in here. I'm going to run over to here. I'm going to have it actually set up this way because they're just like that, so it's even faster. So my whoosh is going to be there, and then I'm going to go and change the question. And I remember what this question is. Yeah, don't let it scare you because the effects, that's why it's not there. So just make sure you change question 2. What year saw the release of the MCU film The Incredible Hulk? All right, so I quickly did that so you can see how it looks in comparison to the two. So watch at the end of question 1 and then go into question 2. Watch. I had the volume on there, so watch. See, as the sound effect made the noise, it went away and then it's there. So same thing with the sound effect for the question popping up. You'll see it in a second. Right here. Boom. It just adds a little layers to this. So I know, spoiler at the end of this question, they both got it right. All right, so I know that they both got it correct, so I'm going to put my correct buzzer here, and I'm going to trim these two. I'm going to click this one right here. I'm going to hit my writing tool, and I'm going to go over, boom, 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 and then that's it. And then obviously you'll see how it looks once we go to the next question. All right, so we'll trim that. We'll cut that off. We'll hit our whoosh, and then we'll go over to the effects and our barn doors. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like after the end of question. Oh, I still had, that's one thing why you want to check sometimes. I had the V as a shortcut on mine for the select, so it was on there. So I'm glad I went back and looked and I saw it. So let's try it again. Boom, just like that. The question goes away, the score updates, and the dinging sound, symbolizes that a correct answer was there. So we're gonna do two more without talking, and we're gonna just watch how quick it is. And boom, that's all it is to it. So we're gonna go ahead and just, watch how it went at the end of there. Boom, updated those scores. Then we talked, and then we just rinse and recycle. Look at the process. It's so simple. So if you really look at it, there on paper, it's one of those things where you're adding so many elements, but once you master the shortcuts and just the vision of what you're going for, you're going to be fine, and you're really going to trim down your time. So if you notice, I went into 3 or 4 minutes of that part of the match, and I actually did that in 2 minutes because I was skipping ahead. So in theory, you want to assume that you're going to get at least 2 minutes per match. So if a match is 27 minutes, 27, 30 minutes, then you're going to do an hour's worth of editing. But if you take some shortcuts and you were there for the match, you know that there's not stuff you have to edit out, then you might be even able to cut down your time even more. So, with that said, if you have any questions, I am more than happy to help you with specifics, whether it's StreamYard and you want to set up some graphics working with Canva, or if you are on Adobe Premiere Pro and you really want to up your editing game, go ahead and comment below or message me personally at Henry Confidential on Facebook or Henry Sanchez on Facebook, and I will help you as much as I can because I love editing and I love the movie trivia community. And it's just one thing that I just, I'm going to be watching these videos, then I want to, watch, elevated content. So if there's a chance for me to help the creators of these leagues to get even better, then that's, what I want to do. So with that being said, I am Henry Confidential. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because maybe I'll be doing more editing tutorials like this, or maybe I'll just, do more just in general edited content. So if you like seeing edited content, go ahead and check that out, and go ahead and check out my actual movie channel with these these matches on There Will Be Movies. You know, we just started because I transferred over there because I want to do more elevated, quote unquote, high class content over here, and I want to do just strictly movie related stuff over there. But you never know, maybe I'll transition and go back and forth with it. So with that being said, Henry Confidential, I am out.